Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm your average guy Sahil Gogna, and for those who don't know me, I'm a data engineer based in Canada and I make videos around Canadian IT industry. We all know that the life of an international student is full of ups and downs. It's very challenging, it's very tough, and there are challenges at each step. But then there are some international students who, despite of all those challenges, they decide to follow their passion. This video is about one such international student who dropped out of his master's program to start his own tech startup. This is going to be a really motivational video for all of us. This is my attempt to bring forward Canada's tech entrepreneurs, and coming up next is my conversation with Mr. Tukan, who is the founder and CEO of LeadSift. But before we jump into the conversation guys, please make sure to subscribe the channel and hit that like button because it gives me motivation to keep going. It's going to be a bit long conversation, so sit back, relax, and I assure you that every second of this video is packed with the motivation and knowledge that we need as the entrepreneurs. So let's get started. Tukan bhai, first of all, thanks a lot for sparing our time. I know we have been planning this video for quite a while,
Yes.
and finally we are here, and we'll talk about your experiences in
Sure.
Canada.
Sure.
And starting off, like, I know you came to Canada as an immigrant, right?
Yeah,
So-
as an international student.
As an international student, right? So what was that journey like? Tell me from starting, like how it all started, and when did you come to Canada, and
Yeah.
how did you progress in your life to form a company?
Sure. It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So, I came to Canada in 2002, right after high school.
Okay.
So I finished my grade 12 when I came here to go to DAL for my undergrad. Just for context, that was the first time I left the country. I've never left the country outside of my hometown, Kolkata. And that was the first time I left the country. I've visited within India. The first time, and in fact, that was the first time I got on a plane. I had never gone on a plane.
Like most of the Indian students.
Right. And again, I come from a very middle class family. We never got on a plane. We mostly took train journeys. It was the first time I got on a plane was actually leaving the country, leaving my parents back home. So it was very scary. It was very, very scary, right? When you're 18 years old, when you have no family and you just come to a new country, it is scary. It's supposed to be scary.
Right.
Yeah. So that's when I came. I came to study here in computer science. Went to Dalhousie, set up, did my co-op.
So
there.
you did the bachelor's degree here, right?
Yes,
From Dalhousie?
a bachelor's, and I also did my master's.
Masters.
Did I tell you that story?
No.
Okay, I'll tell that story. It's a bittersweet story. So, anyways, I came to do my undergrad, and I was in the co-op program. So, which is basically you do 4 years of study, 1 year of you intern for some company.
Right.
There's 3 internships. So I did that, and I think that's where this whole journey started. So I did a co-op at a company called Genie Knows. The company doesn't exist anymore. We were building a search engine. That company was building a search engine competing with Google and Yahoo. And Microsoft Bing wasn't even there then. So we were building there. I got a job. There's also a story there, but I'll tell that story later. But anyways, I did there, and that's when I realized I love working with data and data mining. When you're building a search engine, it's all about indexing and mining and understanding data and text. I fell in love. So anyways, I did that, worked there for 5 years. While working there, in 2010, I went to school, went back to Dalhousie to do my master's in computer science.
Okay.
Specifically in natural language processing. And my thesis was around sentiment detection from text, but in a contextual sense. But anyways, long story short, I while working, I was doing my master's, did all my courses, 2 years, because I was working full time. I was taking 1 course at a time, or maybe 2 courses. Did this, and then I started my thesis with my supervisor in NLP, and that's around that time I started the company, LeadSift. But the bitter part of the story is I didn't complete my master's. I dropped out. I finished all my courses, had good grades. I had my thesis left. I started working on my thesis. Doing a master's thesis is a lot of work. But doing a business, working, and this didn't work. So that's my journey been.
Is
And
it
in
compulsory to drop out from your masters? Because
Yes,
a
yes.
lot of startup founders that we hear
Yes.
about, they all are dropouts.
Yes. I was not going for that. It just so happened. My mom's still not happy, but
Okay.
it is what it is.
So starting up your own, was it already planned when you came from India, or is it?
No, man, no. Starting my own company?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I come from, as I said, my dad was in insurance. That we have had nobody in my family in business. No one. But when I came here, it was all about survival. I want to finish my degree. I want to get a job. I was desperate to get a job. Desperate, right? And any job.
That's true.
Right?
That's true with every student.
Every
I can
student,
relate to
right?
that.
So I'll tell a story. My first job, which changed everything for me. Jeannie knows, shout out, whoever, John and Barb and Chol, those guys. So anyways, in the internship, so they were hiring 2 people.
Okay.
So the whole bunch of people interviewed. After the interview, my interview was okay, not that good. After the interview, a week later, I got an email. He's like, "You did not make the interview cut. You're third, so you're on a wait list."
Okay.
So 2 other people, and out of the 2, the first person who got the job was my best friend Srijata. She was one of them who got the job, and then there was another guy, Ryan, I think, from Dalhousie, who got the job. I was the third one. I was so sad because I was so close. But then I heard this on a Tuesday night or Friday night. There was some crying involved. Maybe, I don't remember. Maybe. But then what happened was the following Tuesday, I got a note from Ginino saying, "Hey, Ryan did not take this offer because he got a job in Toronto, so he's going there. Will you take this role?" I'm like, hell yes. So that's how I joined. I was in the wait list, plan B sort of. Got the job and excelled, and I stayed there with them 5 years. But sorry, to answer your question, I never planned for it. But while working at Genie Knows, when I started getting into this world of data and mining data, I always had ideas of, oh man, there is this data available here. Can we do something here and do something there? I always had the back of my mind. I never thought of doing a business and all that. Around 2010 and 11, I in my weekends, like you do videos and stuff, process videos. What I did was I used to play with APIs. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram was not there. Blogger had their API. Wikipedia, I remember those are the sources. They opened their API. You can read data from it, and it was like, you know, the kid in the candy store. I'm like, wow, there's so much data. And I started playing with it. I read the data. I'm like, okay, can I do sentiment detection? Can I extract entities and all that? That's when it hit me. I'm like, man, there is so much valuable information in there that we can extract.
Right.
And we can give it to businesses. I don't know what the businesses will do. I have no idea if this is going to become a startup or tech. Not. But there is data I can extract and I can give it to businesses so that they can better target their customers. And the first thing that I did, I reached out to the smartest tech friends that I knew. I'm like, man, I have this idea. Do you want to hack together? They're like, yeah, we want to do it too. So yeah, that's how the whole idea started. There was no business for a year. This was we were all working full time. Some of us were going to schools in addition to that, and we were just on the evenings and weekends. We would just do cool stuff. Like, that's it. That's all we did. And we did this for a year, and we were like, this is going nowhere. 2011, I have this email screenshot I'll share with you. 2011 in August, I saw an email that came through Dalhousie students saying there's this thing called Demo Camp that was being hosted, where basically what they were going to do is they were going to get anyone can come and pitch your startup idea, but you cannot have a PowerPoint presentation, none of that bullshit. You had to do a presentation, a live demo. And we were like, man, this is our moment. August 8th, the presentation was September 26th, 2011. So we had like 6 weeks. And we basically huddled together with our friends. And I'm like, guys, if we have to do something, let's do this. Let's actually go build a demo in 6 weeks. We had built the tech, but it was all back-end, right? Writing code because we were all Python developers or C++ back then. I don't even remember anymore. But anyways, that's what it triggered. So we prepared a demo. We presented to the demo. We presented to the crowd. 5 minutes. That's all you get. So I did the demo. After the demo, what happened was few people came up to us and said, "Hey, great presentation. Good stuff. Is this live? Because I can use this for my business." That's when the light bulb moment hit for us. I'm like, people are willing to pay for what we are building?
Right.
And that's how the journey started. That's when we were like, yeah, we are going to do a business. We are going to do something on our own. Don't know what, how, but we're going to do something on our own.
Was it scary to start off your own? Because you were telling, like, I can relate to it, that we all international students, we are desperate to find a job because we all have financial responsibilities. We all come from different backgrounds, right? So considering your background and everything, like you also told that your mother is still not happy with you that you dropped out of your master's, right?
Yes.
So how scary was it? How was it? Just the gut feeling that, okay, I'm gonna start my own and it will work out, or was it a calculated risk? So what was going through your mind?
I remember this discussion. So this is 2011, eh? 2011 September. We got this feedback, and we are like, there is something here. We are onto something. I went back to India in October. I came back in November, and we met some people. There's also there. Listen. In the journey of a startup, there are these incidents that happen in life. These are what you call lightning moments, right? So presenting demo camp was a lightning moment for us, the first one. There was another lightning moment that happened. Someone from New Brunswick, his name is Sean Carver. I owe a lot of our success, LeadSift success, to Sean. Sean was running this program called the Next Phase. Next Phase is basically they take startups with ideas and they make them investment ready.
Okay.
Venture investment ready. So he found out about LeadSift. Somehow somebody mentioned to him. He called me in November. He's like, "Hey Tukan, I found out about this." He's a very smart man. He's like, "We do this Next Phase program. It's starting in January. It's starting in January for 4 weeks. We'd love you guys to come and we can help you get investment ready, like refine your pitch, build the business model and all that." And we're like, "This is awesome, great." And he's like, "It costs $4,000. $3,500 of it is going to be paid by some university. You have to pay $500. And me, us being, cheap, we're like, "Sean, we don't have $500. Sean's like, "I will pay it out of my pocket. I want you guys to come." So Sean paid for it out of his pocket. Thank you, Sean, if you're listening. We did that. We graduated, and by then the feedback we were getting from other people that we were like, "You guys are onto something." And the idea was basically, just so that everyone knows, idea was look at any public data, your Twitter feed, Facebook feed, LinkedIn feed, blogs, anything, any public data, Wikipedia. And from then, what we were trying to do was we were trying to predict if someone was going to buy a product or service. That's all we were. We were looking at text and analyzing it in historical data and cross-referencing and automatically trying to predict, is Sahil going to buy a new phone, new shoes, a car, hoodie, coffee, pizza, doesn't matter.
Right.
Where are you in market to buy something? And if you think about it, if you talk to any business, that is the most important thing. If you tell me this person is going to buy something, that is the most important. So we were onto something. So as we graduated there, then there was this thing called, so Sean said, "Tukan, there is this accelerator that's happening in New Brunswick called Propel." They were launching their first thing called Launch 36 program. There's a lot of guys who are backing it. You guys should do it. It's a 4-month program. You should do it, but it's once a week. You have to drive to New Brunswick, to St. John or Fredericton or Moncton. So at least 3 to 5 hours of drive every week in winter. And we were like, yeah, we're going to do it. In winter, we're going to do it. So for 4 months, every week we drove to New Brunswick to go through this program. So we go through this program, and then there is a demo day where you present to 500 people. There's some investors there. We go up on the stage, we present, and it was insane feedback. Insane. Investors came up, they were like, "Yeah, are you raising money?" and all that. By then we were in the stage. During that program, you're like, "We are going to do this full time." We were still working, by the way.
Okay.
We are still working. We didn't quit our job. We're like, "We're going to do this full time." So I remember we had this chat with me and my couple other co-founders in a car. We came out of this event and it's like, "Guys, this is looking real. This is real. Are we going to do this or not? Should we?" Because we have a stable income,
right.
Good careers, all of us. someone we're doing even our masters, should we give everything up because it's a big risk because there's no money in the bank, and our co-founder Hatem, our CTO, I remember what he said. He's like, guys, here's the way I look at it. We should look at it. The demand for technical people, good, smart technical people, are never going to go away.
Right.
And we believe in ourselves that we are smart and technical people. What's the worst that can happen? We give it a shot for 6 months. We try to raise money and see where it goes, see how far this startup thing goes. And if it doesn't work, we gained a ton of experience. It looks good on a resume, and we'll be back in the market. People will hire us more than they do now because if you're smart. And that helped us. So it was still, we were scared shitless still, right? But so this was around 2012 May, around that time. Then we did the demo day. A lot of people came up to us like, yep, we are going to invest. This looks good. And then one after another happened. Like pretty much every known investor in Nova Scotia, Atlantic Canada invested. Some people you probably wouldn't know. Jerry Pond, he's the Godfather, Jevon, Innova Corp. They all invested. They all backed us. Ian Kavanagh. These guys all invested. And then the big thing happened was, there's again, lightning moment. 2012 demo camp, we went. Because 2011, we were, that's where it started. 2012, they were doing it again. In September, I went. This time, we had already raised money from Innova Corp. We had already raised money, so we were good. So we went there, and we were going to go full-time. Quit our, we had already submitted our notice. October, we start full-time and all that. We were all working part-time. We had cut our work hours at our other jobs. We go to this event. After the event, there's a networking event happening. So I go there at Dal, whatever, one of Dal's places, having drink, and then this guy comes up. His name is Damian Steele. He was one of the partners at Omer's Ventures. Omer's is a venture firm out of Toronto. They are the largest venture fund in Canada. I think $1 billion under asset. They're big. So I was chatting. He's like, "What do you guys do?" I'm like, "This," and he's like, "Man, there's a company we invested in last year. You should talk to them. Your tool can help them." And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, he gave his business card. Great. Next day, there was this event happening called Mentor Camp. Not demo camp, mentor camp.
Okay.
They select 12 companies, and what happens is all those 12 companies, and the organizers collect a group of mentors globally. They come in and they have 30-minute speed dating sessions. Like you tell them what you do, they give you feedback, right? And the group of mentors circle. Next day it was mentor camp. Damien, the guy who I met, he was there. So I paged and he gave feedback and insights. Mentor camp, we generated a tremendous amount of buzz. They're like, LeadSift is the thing. Anyways, whatever. We go about doing our thing. Next day I get an email from Damien. He's like, "Tukan, we would want you to fly down to Toronto to pitch to our partners. I would love for you." And we're like, "What? Omer's Ventures? What the hell?" Like they had never invested in Atlantic Canada, never before that. And we are like, "Okay." And they're like, "We will pay for your flight." By the way, investors never pay for your flight to pitch. It's you want money.
Right.
They paid for our flight. I have no shame in saying it. Probably Omer's has never done it for us. I don't know, Damien, I'm sorry. I probably should have said it. But anyways, we go there, we pitch. Me and Srijata, my other co-founder, we go there and pitch Damien, and we had no idea. There's this one particular thing I remember in that board meeting. It's very intimidating. There's 12 people. These are some of and this fancy boardroom in Toronto, downtown Bay Street. Very, 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 very scary. We present, and Howard Quinn, he's one of the legends of the Canadian investment scene. He goes, "So, in your presentation, I did not see anything about revenue forecasts. What is that?" I look at Howard and I go, "Howard, at our stage, I have no idea what my revenue forecast is going to be. Do you want me to lie?" I don't know how I got the courage to say that to him. He goes, "Yes, appreciate that." And I think that might have helped them. We got on the flight back, landed in in Halifax Airport. I opened my BlackBerry. I got the term sheet from Omer's that same day. They're like, "We are leading this." And yeah, that's another lightning strike. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have noticed one thing, like the things are getting together.
Yes.
The things were falling apart in the beginning, but you have, in your story, you have told that everything was getting along.
Yes.
So you were still stuck to the Atlantic Canada. So what does this city has to offer, like Halifax, New Brunswick? What does this Atlantic Canada has to offer for entrepreneurs? And do you feel like if you would have started in Toronto or in Vancouver, LeadSift would have been a bigger success?
I don't know, right? How would I know, right? You never know. There's so many companies that start in Toronto or Vancouver and don't do anything at all, right? So you can never tell. What's going in favor from Atlantic Canada is few things. First is the people. Like the group of people that you see here, I have never met nicer, friendlier people anywhere in the world. And I've traveled a lot. Nicest group of people.
That's true.
The people that backed us, they stuck with us to the end. And there's some stories I can share. There's very entrepreneurial specific stories that how they supported us. So it's the people. That's what Atlantic Canada has to offer. Atlantic Canada is not one city or one province. It's 4 provinces together. But it feels like one big city. I mean, total, if you add up Halifax, Moncton, Fredericton, PEI, all of these, it's still smaller than Toronto. Right? Geographically bigger, but population-wise smaller. So it's one country. But because it is, we are separated geographically, but it still feels like it's like one big hub, right? So that's why so people, and there's a feeling of community here. Second, Halifax has a bunch of universities, as you guys know.
Right.
A lot of these are great universities. They produce a lot of very smart people in engineering talent. It is very easy to find really smart people here, where the competition is a lot less than in Toronto. If you're in any big city, think Toronto, think San Francisco, Boston, New York, the competition for talent is cutthroat. Like,
That's true.
if I hired, let's say as a startup, I hire someone, I cannot pay the same salary as Google or Amazon or Facebook. If I'm in San Francisco, every CEO's biggest fear is Google knocking on the door and saying, hey, here is triple the amount of money I'm giving, quit this. I don't have to worry about that. A lot of startups don't have to worry about that. Not because these people are not smart, because we are not in that market. That is a massive advantage, right? And then when we started back then, there was not enough a big startup ecosystem. There was no Volta. There was nothing. Now Halifax is probably one of the hottest tech hubs in the world, I would say. At least in North America, it's fantastic ecosystem to support entrepreneurial growth. There's venture funds here. There's angel investors here. There's incubators here, accelerators here. There's a lot of companies that have started, sold. They have money, they have experience, they have the network. So Halifax offers a ton, and it's very close. Literally, I can walk up the street to Volta, right? It's literally up the street, right? And I can talk to 3 people who have sold their companies for millions of dollars in the last 5 years, and I can talk to them and they'll give you time. Good luck trying to do in a bigger city. So those are things that Halifax offers that a lot of other big cities cannot. And I am what they say long on Halifax. I'm massively long on Halifax.
Okay.
Yeah, and Atlantic Canada. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that market in Halifax is currently hot, right?
Yes.
So a lot of my subscribers are from India.
Yes.
And like Indian startup culture is booming. We have a lot of edtechs coming along. A lot of fintechs, right?
Yeah.
So just for their context, because they know a lot about India, so how does the Canadian startup market, I mean, where does the Canadian startup market stands if we compare it with the Indian market? So is it saturated? Does this industry has a lot to explore yet now? So what's the current state?
For startups?
For the startups or the entrepreneurs.
Okay, so here's the thing. So if your audience, there's 2 things. When you think of startups, 2 ways. Do they want to start a startup or do they want to work at a startup? Start a startup,
yeah.
I think that market is never going to be saturated.
Okay.
Ever. If anything, it has accelerated massively now. The reason why I say it's never going to be saturated is, in the course of a day when you go through it, there's a lot of things, there are a lot of inefficiencies in life in general. whether it's how the food is cooked, how the video is recorded, how the data is transformed, how the calls are made. There's problems all over the world.
Right.
As innovators, our job is to think of a problem, find the problem, go deep in the problem, and find a solution and deliver that product. Right? That is never going to go away. That is never going to go away. Right? So that market is never going to be saturated. Right now. And why in this world, day and age, what the whole, why do you think India has so many startups? There's 100 unicorns in India right now. It has boomed.
Right.
Indian government has realized we have historically, our economy is not based on manufacturing. It is based on back office, right? Call centers, BPOs. That's how historically India has, that's India's thing, like consulting companies like Infosys, Tata. They're not product companies.
Right.
If you think about it, they're all services. They're software consulting companies. These startups are building their own products. And the way the Indian government have figured out is the way for us to grow faster is by doubling down on this knowledge economy. Is by us creating something new, like the Facebooks of the world. Why is USA the #1 country in the world? Every big startup comes out of US. Think about it, right? India is coming up, China has fantastic, other places. But that's it, right? So that's why the startup market is going to go crazier. What's going to change might be the funding situation recently. Like the macroeconomic, there has been a lot of money in the market. It has been really frothy. So a lot of startups got funded and they haven't been as diligent about hiring, and that's why there might be layoffs and stuff like that happening. But startup market is going to boom, and it's going to keep going. And with the virtual world, now you can literally, here's the thing, I'll give you an example. The biggest deal in my life that I closed was selling of LeadSift. I have, from a financial dollar value perspective, like I have never closed that big a deal in my life. Never met anyone in person. Because it's all remote, virtual.
Right.
Someone can do that from India too. If, like for some, our company is headquartered in Boston. The president sits in London. There are some people, our business line owner lives in Virginia. It's all virtual. I never met them. Last week when I was in London, that was the first time I met Ram, our president, who signed the check. So the same thing can be done for them. If there's a right fit company in India, it'll happen. So yeah, the startup market is booming and it's gonna continue booming. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you believe you have an idea, now is the best time. There has been no better time to do it now than ever, and it's always gonna be the way. There is a caveat, and I don't know if there's time to talk about that. The problem is it is very, very hard. It's very hard. Do not do it for the glamour. We did it for 9 years, Sahil. I have aged 90 years in the last 9 years. I wish there was there is a before and after picture when I looked a lot younger. But yeah, it's hard. But yeah, it's booming. It's great.
Okay, and you mentioned that the stress that you went through for the last 9 years, right?
Yes.
So starting up your own, being a CEO is often associated with a lot of money. Like people, let's be straight. Like,
yes.
Let's talk about money.
Yes.
People, they always think that, okay, I'll be CEO, I'll be millionaire within few years, then everything is settled, right?
Yeah.
So before reaching to that point, I want to ask you, there might be a point when you were very down, when you felt like, okay, nothing is working out, I need to pack up everything is finished, so let's go home, right?
Yeah.
What was that moment and how did you overcome that?
There were many such moments. There are many such moments that happens in an entrepreneur's journey. It's not just me.
Okay.
It's with every successful entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur goes and says that they have never had it's all been smooth sailing, they're lying. It doesn't happen. It's a grind. There are all these moments. We call it, it's a one I don't know what, we also use this term, it's called WFIO. WFIO. Stands for we are fucked, it's over. That happens many times. WFIO moments. There has been two such very clear moments that has happened in our business, and we have overcome them. Two big ones, very big ones, and then the small minor ones. I can talk about those ones, but the way we got over this is how do you get the courage is to, I'll add to what your point is, like the thing that people say is like as a CEO you'll become a millionaire and all that.
Right.
That is a lie. It's incorrect. It's not the truth. It's not the truth. If you have a successful exit, yes, right? I can say that yes, it's in the end it works out. But the chances of a startup having a successful exit in a tech startup is less than 1%. 0.1% gives twice the return to their investors, double the money for their investors. 0.1%. So for 1,000 people, 1,000 companies, 10 of them will do that. So the odds are massively stacked against you. But here's the thing: to get disproportionate returns, right? Like crazy, that returns that you'll never get out of your job, you have to take disproportionate amount of risk.
It's true.
And if an entrepreneur goes in, starts a company thinking they will be rich and become a millionaire in two, I can pretty much say they're going to fail. I don't think that works. It's not true. I was in LeadSift. We started LeadSift, me and my co-founder, because we fundamentally believed in this. We believed that we have an edge. We have an unfair advantage where we know our skills are that, and it is actually solving a problem for marketers. It's not solving global hunger or climate crisis. I wish it was doing it, but it was solving a pain point for customers, and it was doing better than what it was. That is the motivation we had, and that's what kept us growing, right? That's one thing, right? We could not give up. We could not give up. And then the second thing is, as entrepreneurs, there is this thing like grit, right? Which is a combination of mental toughness, ego, if you may, whatever it is, right? There is this thing, grit. As entrepreneur, like it was that grit. We just couldn't give up. We just couldn't give up. I'll tell you a story. I shared this with some people. It's a private story, but I'll share this. I don't know why I remember these dates so vividly, because these are etched in my memory. August 2016. August 8th, 2016. I have a screenshot of this. My co-founder sent this to me. She took it. She sends me a screenshot. She goes, check this. And the screenshot is a screenshot of our bank account, RBC. It had $10.84 left in the bank account. Okay? Our payroll, we pay our employees every 2 weeks. Our payroll was $17,000 salary that goes out.
Oh.
$10.84 in the bank account, Sahil. 2 weeks left. And she's like, what do we do? Our CTO, our co-founder, he just left because he had to go somewhere. Yeah, this is 2018, not 2016, 2018. 2018, yes. He had left. So you lose your co-founder, CTO. You have $10 in bank, right? And we are like, with you, it's done. Like, as an entrepreneur, I always believed there's always one last move. I keep saying this, and I believe that there is one last play. There's one play left that you will make. And I looked at my co-founder. I'm like, okay, this is it. It's done. Like, and we were racking our brain. I see a knock on the door. There's this brown envelope. Someone like a Blue Dart or DHL. They drop it off. And what is this? Open it. And there's a letter from our biggest customer. The customer goes, we are canceling our contract. They were our biggest customer by far. We are canceling our contract. We are not going to renew. And in my mind, how much worse can it get, right? Just for context, this is August. 3 months prior to it, me and my co-founder, we are not taking any salaries. Zero salaries, okay? This is happening. Here's the other thing you need to realize. We in our company, we have an extremely transparent work culture. Like everyone knows how much money is in the bank. Like it's crazy transparent. Like we know everything. We share this with our team. But when this is going on, you cannot tell this to the team. You cannot. Because if you tell the team that, guys, there's $10, they have bills to pay. They cannot handle this. So you have to keep this, poker face where like, yes, let's go. We are getting this traction. Let's crush. Let's build this product. Let's close this customer. Blah, blah, blah. We are going to make it. But deep down, it's done. It's done. And then this customer's physical letter comes. It's like, we're canceling our contract. I don't know why they sent a physical mail. Just to hurt us more, maybe. To dramatize it. But then in the last line, they said, our contract ends in December, we're not renewing. Here is the check for the next 6 months payment. So they paid us 30,000 USD. That was the check. That was the remainder of the contract value. That was two payrolls pay. That was month's payroll. We survived, right? That is one story. There's many stories like this that we had to go through, right, to get where we are. But yeah, that's the life of a startup.
This is a very recent one, right? 2018. Like it's not like 5 years ago. You started in 2012, then 2018 you were struggling.
Yeah.
And if we talk about your success, like when the other company they acquired LeadSift, right? So it happened recently.
Yes.
Right. So it took you a lot of time, like ups and downs, to finally see a big up.
Crazy ups and downs, and that's it. And if you are in it for money, for quick, rich, and glory and fame, you're gonna give up.
Right.
When this hard moment hits,
you don't have that reason to continue.
Exactly.
Right?
What's the reason? Because in your mind, you'll be like, you know what, man, I'm not making any salary. I'm going through this stress. I should stop this shit. Go back to a job where I'll make $100,000. Why should I go back? Because you are in it for the money. All entrepreneurs, the good ones, are there for a deeper reason. It's never for money. Money is a nice side effect. And I believe that. If you take away all the financial returns that we got, me, the team, we got from LeadSift's exit, and we're like, I'll take away all of this. But you just get to keep the fact that you took this company from zero, near death multiple times, to here where it got a good outcome. I'd do it again. Even if there's no money, I'd do it again. Just because it is a validation of what I believed by someone who I didn't know. They value this, and it's made an impact. So yeah.
Okay, so we have talked a lot about your ups and downs.
Yes.
And let's finally talk about the acquisition of LeadSift.
Okay.
How was that feeling, and how did it happen?
Yes.
Like, just walk me through that story.
There's a story.
I want to listen to that.
Man, there's always stories. I don't know why it happens with me. Sometimes I wonder. So the story was 2020. Yeah, 2020. We were in talks to be acquired by one of our biggest competitors.
Okay.
We actually signed a term sheet. And we were so excited. No one in the team knew. Me and my co-founder, I made plans. I'm like, oh man, this is happening. Finally, our biggest competitor is acquiring us. It's amazing. And we can become this big. Right after signing the term sheet, we went to due diligence, and for whatever reason, the deal didn't work. Both of us, we were like, no. We signed the term sheet in end of August. It was supposed to close in November. November 7th, 2020. By October, we realized the deal's not happening, so done. Right? By September, we knew that was not going to happen. November 7th, funny enough, the day the deal was supposed to close, I get an email from the corporate development director of IDG, Matt Pearson. He's like, hey, Tukan, there's this. Love what you guys are doing. We're interested in this space, intent data. Love to talk further. And now here's the thing. As a CEO, you get a lot of these emails from investors, target kickers, just like they just want to get more intelligence on you. They don't really want to. And I thought this is one of them. Like, man, I just have been burned from this deal. It takes a massive amount of emotional toll. So I don't even know. I didn't even know. So I Googled them. I'm like, okay, it's a big company. There's like 4,000 plus employees, billions of dollars of valuation. Sure. I reached out. So it was that company, right? IDG, who acquired us. So that's how the discussion happened. November 17th, we had our first meeting with their president, their CMO, chief product officer. So great meeting. But we know, I have gone through this few times for LeadSift to know meetings don't mean anything, excitement don't mean anything. So we are going back and forth, November 21, November 24th, November 25th, things are moving. And I'm like, man, this is interesting. The day that, it's like kismet, the day our deal with that company was supposed to close, it didn't close, I got this email from this random person, and we are now having chat. November 26th, something completely out of the blue happened. Like, I got a text from my family, your dad's not doing well, come back. Because it was peak COVID, and I couldn't So I had to go to, because I'm a Canadian, I don't have an Indian visa. So I had to go to Toronto to get an emergency visa. By the time I reached, my dad passed away from COVID. So this is November 26th. While we are having discussions with IDG, I don't think IDG guys know. I'm in India. I couldn't see my dad. He's gone. In India, I'm having meetings with them. They don't know what's going on. So we continue the meetings. I come back. All this emotional baggage, right? That's the life. There's so many things that happen that people will never know. But anyways, we come back. We continue chat. January happens. They're still having chat, but the frequency of them reply to my emails slow down. February, they're slowing down. I'm like, this is bullshit. One of the things in an acquisition you need to keep in mind is momentum is key.
Okay.
If the momentum is slowed by for whatever, you cannot reverse it. It's done. Very rarely. You need, if like momentum needs to keep accelerating. If it's not, that deal's not gonna happen. So that's an advice for everyone. So anyways, so I get on a call with them in February. I'm like, what is this? Do you guys want to do a deal? And he's like, hey Tukan, we need to tell you something. There's some internal restructuring happening in our organization, so we have to pause the conversation. And I'm like, I know this song and dance. I have seen this bullshit stuff. It's not, it's not you, it's me, that kind of stuff. It's like my girlfriend talking to me. but anyways, right? So they're like, I'm like, okay, this is done. We tell our team, I told my board, and the board's like, Tukan, you know what, just focus. You have had, in 6 months, you have had these back-to-back hits. Right. Just heads down, execute. Just forget about it. I forget about it. In May, I see a news alert. IDG gets acquired by Blackstone. Blackstone is the world's largest private equity fund. And we're like, what? That is the reason they couldn't talk to us. Because they were getting acquired. The acquirer was getting acquired by such a big company. And I'm like, that makes sense. I want to send an email. So I send an email congratulating them and saying, let me know if it makes sense to touch base. Within 5 minutes, I get an email back. They're like, yeah, let's chat. Tukan, next Wednesday sounds good? Like, boom. Next Wednesday, this is end of May. Oh, early June, discussion back on track. August 13th, we signed the term sheet or something, and then we go through the process. So yeah, that's how the acquisition happened. There's stories always, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So after talking to you, I feel like journey of an entrepreneur is not what we see on social media.
No, man.
I mean, they have the social media. It has hyped up everything.
I'll tell you a story. I met, and this is one of the reasons why I will never trade anything that I've experienced, that I've gained from. Through this, I got introduced to this person, Jonathan Elric. He's one of the top VCs in Silicon Valley. He was the first head of marketing at Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I remember I met with him in San Francisco. When I meet him. And the first time I met him, and this is the second time, he's like, for every time I talk to him, he asks, he's like, how's it going? And tough. He's like, yes, it is very, very fucking tough. Other people will never know, but a founder will know. And he's like, just to give you a context, I have seen Mark Zuckerberg throw up in his room night after night because of stress. You look at Mark Zuckerberg's world and you're like, oh man, he has the best life. But so anyways, yes, what you see on social media is a lie. It is hard work, but it's at the end of the day, that's why it's not for everyone. So I'll tell you a story. When I was going through this whole thing, my board chairman, Ian Kavanagh, he had a startup. He sold to EY, was a partner, and he's retired now. I met him. I'm like, Ian asked me the same question, how's it going? And I'm like, it's very tough, Ian. And Ian looks at me. He goes, yes, I know. It's supposed to be. What do you mean? He's like, otherwise everyone would have been a CEO. So true, right? If you ask Virat Kohli, how is it going? He's like, it's tough to be at the top. And it is supposed to be, otherwise everyone would be a cricketer for playing for India. It doesn't. It is supposed to be tough. Same. The odds of success are, as I said, 0.1%. It's supposed to be tough. That doesn't mean it's not doable, but you need to know it's tough, and you need to be in it for the right reason. So yeah.
Okay. I'm really loving this conversation, but I think we need to close up right now.
Okay.
So any final remarks to the international student, to the entrepreneurs listening to you? I mean, how they should deal the tough time? Like, we have already talked to a lot of that, But any closing remarks to them?
Look, if I can do it, coming from a background, no business background, no backing, and I'm actually, and not being exceptionally brilliant in anything. I lucked out because I had some very smart people working with me, with us, like together. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So that's one thing. You don't need to be an Einstein or a Mark Zuckerberg to figure it out, right? Startup's not for everyone, but it is one of the most satisfying feeling ever. And startup can be anything, right? Anyone starting a business, anything. You're creating something that didn't exist, right?
Right.
To be honest with you, think about it. You are creating this YouTube channel. It didn't exist. Whether you decide to continue and make it a media brand, up to you. But if you do, you just created something, willed something into existence, right? And it's not smooth. It's a tough journey. But it's very, very satisfying. It's not about money. It can never be about money. It cannot be about fame and glory and putting, oh, you're the CEO. I actually, when I meet someone, I never, ever told them that I was a CEO. I work in sales as a software, or I'm a software engineer, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Only I will tell that to when someone can give me money or invest in me or make an intro. But, right, it's not about the fame. It's not about the glory. It's about creating something that you believe in, and just giving it every single, ounce of energy that you have. So if your audience, international students, can do it, a lot of startup founders, if you look in Silicon Valley, are from India. A lot of them, not just CEOs, a lot of them are from India. They also came as an international student in different places and started. I am a classic example of that. I came undergrad, worked, masters, dropped out, started a company, successfully sold it. So, but you need to have a lot of patience. It's not a get rich quick scheme, Right. It's not a 2-year thing. I'll double buy, I'll make million and boom, I'll go. No, you have to give the next 5 to 8 years of your life, and you need to be for the right reason. There's this famous quote by I think Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. He says this: being a startup founder, it feels like you're eating glass lying on the floor while getting kicked on the face. That's how it feels like a lot of the days. You're eating glass while someone's kicking you. But the right ones survive, fight through it, through their great dedication, determination, and come out successfully. And even if you don't come out successfully, if you're the right reason, the experience that you get is fantastic. You're going to do something again, right? And as Hatem said, my other co-founder, he had said, he's like, even if it doesn't work out, we are better off for this experience. And I couldn't agree more. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Tukan bhai. It was really a great conversation. I have personally enjoyed a lot, learned a lot, and I'm pretty sure that our audience will also love this conversation.
I hope so.
I'm pretty much sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cool.